Storage is a big thing. Durability improvements continue. We continue to mess with this. Rich had a huge part in getting this crew carrier stuff, so not just us, but all hot shots. 76. Through the years, the organization has kind of changed the structure of it. So crew organization consisted of a permanent hotshot foreman, which back in the day the foreman was the superintendent, what we call it now. So he was the only guy that had a permanent job, so all these other guys were all seasonal. 2 temporary squad bosses, with the remaining personnel being temporary crew members. There you go. 88, the first year on our crew, not hotshots, but in 88 we got Becky Parsons Livingston, she still works for the Forest Service, and Cheryl Boyd. 91, foreman position was reclassified to superintendent and permanent assistant position. Was established 1313. We have 26 pay periods, so in a year for us. So that means you're getting paid for 13. 97, flying through the years. 1313, 2 permanent squad bosses, so those guys became permanent. 2000, uproar maybe, I don't know, too harsh maybe. Original colors were red, we switched to black, still incorporating the red while retaining Smoky Bear during the Gap Fire crew logo. Hasn't really changed a bit, ever. So we used to wear red hard hats, red shirts, and now we're back in black. 2001, squad boss was added, 2 senior firefighter positions were established. Due to the National Fire Plan results in the Tridata study following the fatalities of South Canyon Fire. You guys know about that? We lost some jumpers and all hotshot crew, Prineville hotshots. We're not all Prineville, but Saturday women, I believe. Go ahead, Jimmy. 2004, on our crew, the captain position was added, the crew returned. 2006, the crew returned to organization where there was 1 assistant, so at one point we had 2 captains. That's what all that's saying. Crew returned to organization where there was an assistant. However, 3 additional senior firefighters were added to increase retention of the crew cohesion. So, just like anything, I started out getting water and getting lunches and all that stuff, and every year you just kind of build up everything. One day you're the squad boss. I don't know. Through hard work, not just all this thing. But, the 3 permanent squad boss positions were converted to permanent full-time PFTs, which is really nice. Crew cohesion accomplished many objectives on the district during the off-season. So not only do we, yes, we go fight fires 6 months out of the year, but back at home we have a lot of stuff to do. And lately it's computer stuff. But you guys might see us burning or cutting trees or trail work or cleaning restrooms or removing graffiti or painting or removing horse manure, I don't know. There's an endless amount of things we do. Smoky Bear Hotshots, superintendents, for how long? 76 to 2014, which is pretty good for, we only have 5 superintendents. Andy Hale, 76 to 84. Jade Grimm, actually he was a suit to Sacramento for a bit too. Bob LeMay, still lives here in Capitan. 87 to 99. Rich, 99 to 2013. And no jumpers. 2014 present. And there's Bob again. Worked the ladder just like any of us. Crew foreman, 85, 87, bumped up to superintendent. John Kennedy, 89, 2001. Julian, 1 year, that's when we have the 2 captain position. And Anthony Sanchez, 2001, 2014. Prior to that, he was on the crew since 94, I believe. So hard work pays off, so you just don't get a job. Third job is detail. That means they're in the position acting for that, but they're not the full. They don't have that position yet. That makes sense. I think I'm done. Sorry to bother. Hope you guys weren't too bored. I got some questions.
I have 3 questions. Are you allowed to take mechanical tools into wilderness?
Mechanical tools? No, I'm talking about power saws. No, we usually call them, if the fire's severe enough, we'll get Dave a call and Dave will make a call, he'll call our supervisor's office, and it'll go down the chain. You know, it's due to well, what's the fire doing? You know, if the fire's up and running, and I got a handsaw, I mean, I don't know, what's the payoff?
We can give approval for
You can.
mechanical.
Okay. Okay.
That's a good approval.
Thanks. And the other question is, isn't it hard to see you guys in the smoke and the black of everything if you're wearing black?
Ah, good question. It's been coming up quite a bit. JJ, you want to take that one?
This is where actually, we're not usually like in our black, like if we're on a fire. This is, I'll get into this a little bit. This is our no Mexico shirt, and we normally have that on with our packer and stuff like that. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. But yeah, after a while, everybody kind of looks the same. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're black in the face. I mean, you take off your socks, and once was one color, you're two-toned.
Okay, my third question is, why do you have to remove horse manure? It's good stuff.
Oh, out of the stalls and then
Oh, out of the
just
stall.
clean stalls and
Oh,
stuff.
for the horses that you use.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, I thought you meant off the trails or something.
No, stalls. Anybody else have any questions? There's so much information on here that if you guys want, and I can give you my contact information if you guys need to know anything else. I'll gladly give it to you. It's good to spread the wealth and let everybody know what we're actually doing. And here's some pictures, but I'll pass them out after all these guys are done. There's actually a hot shot book that kind of came together about every crew. So everybody's compiling all this information. When these crews got disbanded and people retired and people go on to bigger and better things, we're trying not to lose this history, rich history, and we're trying to retain it. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
No other questions for Eric? Anybody? There'll be time, I'm sure, but. All right, I'm gonna concentrate on the standards that we adhere to be a hot shot crew. Okay, so there's certain rules that we have to follow, and I'm gonna go over those. So hot shots, we're a 20-person hand crew. Rule of thumb, it can go up or down, but generally 20, 22 people. We're nationally available, and we can go to Mexico or Canada too. There's agreements in place where we can go out of the country, but anywhere in the United States for sure. We're a national shared resource. We're highly trained and motivated, and generally the most experienced crews on the fires. So, not to say we're the most experienced people in the field or anything like that, but overall, we have a lot of experience on the crew compared to Type 2 crews or Type 2As. Well, if anybody has any questions at any time, just feel free to ask. The objective is the crews to provide a safe, professional, mobile, and highly trained hand crew for all phases of fire management and incident operations. Okay, so that's our mission. And our mission priorities, wildland fire, of course, all hazard operations, which could be hurricanes. We've done shuttle recovery. They send crews all kinds of stuff. Hurricane, or not hurricane, but like tornadoes, any kind of natural disaster relief. After that, resource management, which would be thinning, like here in the district, burning, that kind of work. And of course training, which could go the local, geographical, or national scale. So we spend a lot of time training, doing classes, and with people we don't know, and with our own crew as well.
This guy had a question. Is your funding through the, through the Forest Service, or where does your funding come from?
Yeah, we're Forest Service. We're directly funded from the Washington office. So the minimum MOB standards, and this is what we have to be nationally available. So we have to have 18 fireline qualified personnel, 80% of the crew members with at least one season. So that's a minimum. Permanent leadership, which I'll go over that more, but we have to have 7 permanent employees. Be available a minimum of 90 days. And the big one is to work and train together 40 hours a week. A lot of crews can do the other stuff, but it's hard for them to work and train together 40 hours a week. And that's where we get our crew cohesion, what makes us so good as a crew. That's a big one. Like I said, we really don't have any geographic restrictions. We can be in Florida for 2 weeks and then go to the desert in Arizona for 2 weeks, and next thing we're in Idaho. So we're really, it's random, wherever the work is where we're going. We need to break into a minimum of 3 squads, and like in the summertime when there's lightning busts, they take hotshot crews and break us down 3 to 5 mods and scatter us out, and there'll be little lightning fires that I see or just go help with. So at least 3. If we start breaking down into 4 or 5 mods, it gets hard for us because we don't have transportation.
So, let's say you have a fire in Idaho, how is it decided which hotshot crews, let's say it's a big enough fire that it has to draw from other areas besides itself? Who makes that decision as to which hotshot crews are gonna go to it?
That local geographic area, if they've exhausted all of their resources there, then they'll start reaching out to other geographic areas for resources. So it just depends on, it's a supply and demand thing. So if there's a really big fire and there's only 5 crews in the nation on, then probably all 5 of those crews are gonna go to that fire. But the same fire later in the season, there might be 50 crews on, available, so just the local crews go to that fire. Is that clear?
Is there like a central organizing entity that maps out and controls where everybody is at any time and who's gonna go where?
There is, and the busier it gets, the more complicated the organization gets. There will be a national MAT group, they call it, which is a multi-agency coordinating group, and they're the ones making all the decisions when it gets really busy.
Where are they located?
Boise?
Boise, they'll be in Boise, but there are people from all over that kind of put their input, and there's conference calls and priorities, and it's really complicated. So, cleared up well?
All the geographic areas, they're connected to Boise, so when the request comes from California, it goes to Boise and then down to Albuquerque.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so the main, Boise is over the whole country, and all these regional offices.
So Boise is even over Florida and
Yes.
Pennsylvania
In
and all
Alaska.
that.
Yeah, they're over the whole thing, and not only is it Forest Service, but it's interagency, so it's BLM, BIA. Every agency has representation there.
Okay.
It's not just hotshot crews, it's aircraft and all available resources. So it's quite, like Bo said, it's a pretty complex endeavor, farming out all of these resources and not just necessarily for that fire, but for the next 2 weeks of potential fires. And, what that's doing to the places where you're taking resources from, and how do you backfill more resources to go behind them. Like when the Smoky Bear hotshots, when they leave the district, sometimes they'll leave in June, and that's not a very good month for us here. So our coordinating group will get a hotshot crew to come in and backfill, and they'll be here for 2 weeks while Smoky Bear is away. And so it's quite a logistical dance, I think.
There's a lot that goes into it, and it does get very complicated, especially when they get to planning level 4 or 5, which is at the upper end of the planning level.
And it happens quick. It's like, we could be gone, and they could bring a hotshot crew, and then there's like an adjoining forest, or like the Gila, say they break a fire in their hotshot crew, they're gone. Well, the hotshot crew that came to backfill chest and there's always moving parts, like, until monsoonal flows come in and, you know, start to calm everything down in the region or the geographic area.
Anything else with that? Okay. So, when we go places, we're equipped with vehicles, hand tools, power saws, communication equipment, everything that we need basically to operate. And then, the big difference with hotshot crews too, we're self-sufficient. We have purchasing authority, where we can actually buy our own meals, we can buy our own hotels, we can do all that stuff, where we don't have to have somebody from the district or the forest to, you know, I don't wanna say babysit, but they don't have to babysit us. So this is our current organization, which is superintendent, assistant, 3 squad leaders, and 2 senior firefighters. And then the other configuration, which California runs this a lot. There's a few crews in the Southwest that do that too, but it's mostly a California thing. They run the superintendent, 2 captains, 2 squad leaders, and 2 seniors. So this is the minimum that you can have as far as permanent employees go. You have to have these permanent employees and to really be a hotshot crew, to have the permanent overhead. So the superintendent is responsible for all crew program management activities, administrative duties, which is a nightmare, and supervisory oversight. So everybody wants to be a superintendent and move up the chain, and let's say like 80% of all the work I do now is administrative stuff. So between time and travel and credit cards and hiring, terrible. A lot of that. So the minimum,
Just 2 questions. So then who does the superintendent report to? Is it the
The FMO.
district ranger, or, I mean, who's
the
your?
FMO, the district fire management officer,
Oh, okay.
is who I actually.
Okay. And then second was those 7 permanent people, does
Mhm.
permanent mean full-time year-round, or are they
Well,
still seasonal?
it can be different things to different people. Our guys are, like, the squad bosses are PFT, which is permanent full-time, superintendent, the assistant, and we're working on the seniors to get permanent full-time too, which they're at 18 and 8 now, which they work 18 pay periods, they're off 8. So, the other crews might have, you know, like this assistant and the superintendent are permanent full-time, and everybody else is 13. So it kind of depends on the crew in the forest. The minimum fire line qualifications for a superintendent is a task force leader, incident commander type 4, and firing boss. So you have to have these minimum qualifications to qualify for the job. The assistant assists the superintendent in all aspects of the crew. He's kind of in the middle there. He's still operational, and he does some administrative stuff too. So he doesn't have as much administrative duties as I do, but he helps out. He needs to be qualified to lead the crew in the absence of the superintendent, and we try to train up to the next level. So our assistant right now, our acting, he's task force leader, which is Levi. So if I'm not there for some reason, if I'm sick or family emergency or whatever, the crew can still go out and be qualified as a hotshot crew. So we try to train everybody to the next level so we can have our qualifications in place, so we don't have to tie it down to a type 2 crew. So strike team leader crews is the minimum, and IC or incident commander 4. Squad leaders have the hardest job on the crew. They have to supervise 9 other individuals in their truck, and yeah, that's a lot of work. They have to know where everybody's at every minute, where everybody's going, who's with who. It gets really complicated when things get busy and people are running around, and it's a must for them to know where their people are. Their minimum fire line qualifications are firefighter 1 and incident commander type 5. The senior basically assists them with all aspects of the squad operation. So whatever his, like their assistant, whatever they need done. And their minimum qualification is firefighter type 1. Okay, Kimbrell talked a little bit about transportation, but this is what we go with. This picture is an old picture. We should have got an updated one, but it's our old crew carriers and our old soup truck. And now we take a Ranger, a UTV, with the small pump in it, an ATV. We put ATV in the back of the truck. We have the Ranger, 2 crew carriers, and the soup truck. So if we could take more UTVs and stuff like that, we would. But we haven't figured out how to. So on any given season, the average is between 30 and 40,000 miles driven between all 3 vehicles. This year, I think we drove 37,000 in basically 4 months. So we're on the number 1. Whenever we drive somewhere, we're expected to have this equipment. The standard is 5 handheld radios. We operate with 12 to 15, depending on the crew on that given season. 4 chainsaws with fuel and oil is the minimum. We travel with 9. We have firing equipment, all kinds of, getting into the firing equipment later. Hand tools, water handling equipment. We have pumps, we have hoses, we have all kinds of stuff. We take as much stuff as we think we're going to need, and we still don't have enough. So. All of our line gear is what we carry on the actual line, and then our overnight gear, or 10 days, we call it. I don't know why they call it 10 days, but we're usually gone way longer than that. That's where all of our extra clothes go, sleeping bags. We have 3 trauma kits. We have a trauma kit in each truck. Everybody carries first aid. And there's actually two men first aid kits that we carry with each squad, 1 on each squad. We have 2 EMTs and backboards, skeds, AEDs, and we have a lot of stuff for the medical side.
Is everyone CPR certified or?
No.
Just
Actually, we usually hire our, CPR, we're all CPR for the first aid. But,
put me on that.
yeah, we usually hire, if we can, we try to get paramedics, but usually just EMTs. But I like to have 2, so I have 1 with each squad. So you don't know where. If there's only 1, we could be, 1 squad might be 5 miles from the other squad on any given day, so it makes things complicated. So 2 EMTs if possible. Food and water for 48 hours, that's what we go with. After that, we're going to need some support from somebody. Whether we go buy food or go to a restaurant, or if there's a team there with the caterer, or however that works. And then we have GPSs, cell phones, and a satellite phone for those places where you can't get radio communications or cell phone communication. Fixed wing transportation, it can either be contract or commercial. Contract's pretty good. They let us take most of our gear with us. We can take our chainsaws, we can take our tools, we can take all our good stuff. We don't take firing stuff on the airplane, of course. But it's a pretty good deal. We don't have to drive near as much. We can get home in 2 or 3 hours instead of 30 hours or whatever it takes. And then commercial can kind of turn into a mess. They don't always, they can't always get the whole crew on one plane, so they'll be saws sometimes, just, it's way better to fly contractor, it's option. And then we fly out of Albuquerque, there's a mob center there, there's a mob center in Phoenix, Boise, Missoula, so. Boise's turned into kind of a hub for us now, if we're gonna fly or drive, we just head to Boise, it seems like. And then by the time we get there, or on the way there, they'll have an order for us, and we'll just send us. But whenever we are flying, and we can't take all our stuff, the receiving unit has to provide 2 cases of fusees for us, 4 drip torches, 4 chainsaws, 10 gallons of gas, 5 gallons of bar oil, 50 gallons of drinking water, and 10 cases of MREs, and ground transportation. Which usually is a couple of vans and a couple of trucks or something like that. So, by the time we fly and get our trucks and everything gets sorted out, our own vehicles are usually about half a day behind us. Sometimes it's better to drive. Fitness training, the work capacity tests, or PAC tests as it's referred to frequently, is like the minimum standard that we have for fitness. There's other guidelines, but that's the one. If you can pass the PAC test, then you can be a hot shot. So that's basically our only standard right now.
How many pounds do you carry?
45 pounds in 45 minutes. That's the arduous PAC test that we have to.
On the flat or over hill?
Flat ground, 3 miles.
Is that once or yearly?
Every season.
Every season?
So every 12 months it expires. We have to do that once. But that's the only standard.
Is that, how tough a standard is that? Is that,
It's not tough,
okay.
really. I don't know. It's not bad.
Isn't enough, is that, I mean, for your, is it, meet your requirements?
No.
Okay. So you push the guys on their own, not farther than.
Right, we have our own physical training program that we do, and the guys know to come into the season in shape. You know, if they're not in shape, then they're gonna suffer when they get to work, basically. And it's the fitness level. If you have a high fitness level, it just makes everything else easy. But the PAC test alone, no. Like, I would say the majority of people in this room could probably pass the PAC test.
So what happens if it's on to your standard? Practice or not?
And we just give them time to.
Or you're dropping them?
No, we can't, if they pass a back test, we can't just, they're still, we have to get them in shape, basically. And most people will get in shape, it just takes them, at least a couple weeks. We expect people to show up in shape, so.
Or that they'll like, there's like another training, it's our line dig, and we've actually had like somebody that just said this is not our cup of tea. And, okay, I'm gonna have to go on, he thought he was wanting to do it, after we did our line dig, yeah, he was deciding, no, I'm not gonna do this.
So the PAC test, there's no running, you have to walk. It's kind of weird because you're on flat ground and you use muscles that you wouldn't usually use hiking like up a hill, so it's kind of weird, but that's the standard. So this is some baseline fitness that is it's accepted as kind of a baseline, but it's not a standard. You don't have to adhere to this. So if you did a mile-and-a-half run in 10:35, 40 sit-ups in 60 seconds, 25 push-ups in 60 seconds, and chin-ups by weight. So depending on your weight, if you're 167 pounds, you're expected to do 5 chin-ups. Like I said, this isn't a standard, it's kind of just a baseline. our daily PT, we run, especially on the first couple of weeks when we're doing critical training, stuff like that, we run a lot as a crew, 3 to 5 miles a day. We do